Hey everybody, we're here for a new episode of the show that's yet to be named, the movie podcast where we talk about movies. Today we have the Kevin Smith edition. We're going to rank the Askewniverse. We decided to split this into two episodes because we really like Kevin Smith and we wanted to have a real conversation about it. I have Puttyman here with me. Yeah, you don't get to plug anything. I got Johnnydonuts here with me. He can plug whatever he wants.
Johnnydonuts777.
All right, and then Putty, give me your intro. Give us the intro.
Okay, well, welcome, fellow RLG cast members.
You lost.
I messed up.
You immediately lost.
Did you really want me to use the Gamer Potheads?
Yeah, go do it.
Okay, well, welcome to Your Pothead Joe Puttyman here, and we today are going to be ranking the Askew movies, aka Kevin Smith films. Only in the Askew universe, though. We're not going outside there. We're going to be ranking them based on worst to best.
We asked, and this is a true fact, that we already had a mini argument about which movies belong inside this universe.
Sounds like I'm at a strip club. That's right, gentlemen. Put your hands together. Welcome Candy to the stage. That's right, gentlemen. Candy can be yours at your table for $10 tonight.
Next
$10
on
drinks.
stage with Candy is George Costanza.
$10 drinks all night long, gentlemen.
That really actually happened.
Hustle
Lancaster, I know, went
shout
on
out
stage, and the guy's like, "It's Georgie, George."
Shout out to Hustle Lancaster.
Yeah, shout out. No, I don't want to shout you out. You suck. Okay, anyways, so we're gonna do this. There's 7 movies, so we'll go 7, 7, like we always do.
8, I think.
Oh yeah, we said 8. Okay.
8. Yeah. See, the argument's already started.
Yeah. Okay, exactly. So we'll go in order for me, which is clockwise. So it's me, then JD, and then Putty.
All right.
So let's just get the number 8 out of the way. It's I don't even know what the hell it's called.
The Super Groovy cartoon movie.
Yes.
It sucks.
Well,
yeah.
Let me say this. The one thing I liked about it, I will say, is it was so nice to see him collaborate with MC Chris. And a lot of people don't know who MC Chris is, but I'm a huge fan of MC Chris. So when I started that movie and heard MC Chris's voice singing, and it wasn't "I Want Candy" in any way, I was like, I'm fucking happy.
Wait, isn't there another movie? Isn't there a Blunt Man and Chronic one?
And actually, no, there isn't. I don't think there's. No,
I don't think so.
No.
Okay, anyways,
we could be.
There is a video game being made.
There's this movie that my issue with it, like, I don't want to really have conversations in between here, but
yeah,
this movie is beat for beat, panel for panel, word for word, the comic book.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
They didn't even attempt to try and make something out of this. They were just like, we're just going to redo the comic book.
Yeah.
It even looked like the comic book. So,
the one thing I got to say is a lot of good voice cameos in it.
Yes. Definitely.
All right, so just actually quickly, so we just wanted to get number 8 out of the way. So I'm going to preface my list. So I did this list actually for like the first time based in order of the movies that I think are the best made. So my list will be going from the least best made, I think, from a technical aspect.
Because they're all good to me.
To the highest.
Yeah. They're all good to me, but I did based on what I like. So
okay, that's fair. And then you also did favorite, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to say that, like, I like them all. Yeah, maybe.
There's one or two.
Here we go. This is my number 7. It's Reboot. Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Same.
Yeah, I actually put Reboot too, and it's not because I didn't like it. It's just because that's the thing. It's just because, again, we have these conversations, and I know that a certain family member of this guy, Campo's family, doesn't agree, or is on the same point as I am, I should say. But the point is, I still actually liked Reboot. It felt like it had the passion. It felt like Strikes Back to me, you know what I mean? But at the same time, that's why it's a joke. It's a joke on rebooting Strikes Back, and that's exactly what it's for.
It was a rehash more than a reboot.
Well, listen, we'll discuss all of this.
Yeah, and another
post. Yeah. No, just as soon as we're done our list. So let's just get through the list. So number 6 for me is we all had that, right?
Yeah, we all had Reboot.
Okay, so number 6 for me is Clerks 2.
I different.
Well,
okay,
it's not you.
Mine's different too because my number 6 was Dogma.
See, my number 6 is Chasing Amy.
Okay, that's it. We're going through the list.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Number 5 for me is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
That's my number 5.
Number 5 for me is Clerks 2.
All right. Number 4 for me is Mallrats.
Clerks 2.
Dogma.
All right. Number 3 for me is Chasing Amy.
Same.
Clerks.
Number 2 for me is Dogma.
Mallrats.
Jane Silent Bob Strike Back.
And my number 1 is Clerks.
Same.
Mallrats.
Okay, so I'll go through my list really quick. It's a stupid animated movie at 8. Jay and Silent Bob Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, Clerks 2, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, Clerks.
Mine is Super Groovy, Reboot, Dogma, Clerks 2, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Chasing Amy, Mallrats, and Clerks.
And then for me is Jay and Silent Bob Groovy Movie, Reboot, Chasing Amy, Clerks 2, Dogma, Clerks, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and Mallrats.
All right, so if you guys just came for the list, that's our list. We're going to talk about the ranking of our list now, okay? So we'll open up the floor here, and the first thing I want to talk about is number 7, so Reboot. This upsets me because I spent many a day arguing with these two clowns about Reboot being the worst movie he made of this universe, and they're trying to tell me that it was not the worst one. And then he just ranked it at last.
No, I never said it was the worst one. It's not just not his best.
Not you, Putty. Wherever Putty is.
I did. Here's the thing. I will say this. Here's the thing. Here's the problem I have with Reboot. The reason Reboot got in front of Chasing Amy is got behind Chasing Amy is because Chasing Amy is a classic. But I actually enjoyed Reboot more than Chasing Amy. Chasing Amy for me was a little bit too realistic outside of with the beginning part, with the comic book when they were all that stuff. But once you got into the relationship between Ben Affleck's character and I can't think of her name,
Joy Lauren Adams.
Yeah, Joy Lauren Adams. Then I liked it.
That's a good Joy Lawrence.
Joy Lawrence.
Whoa. Anyway, but my whole point is that's the reason why I still gave it a higher than Reboot, only because it's out of respect for it. Okay, but see, that's the thing. There's a reason why. For example, I the same thing happened with 3 and 2, and I want to talk about that one once we get there too. So,
okay, so. My thought process on Reboot is not that I didn't like it, watching it, or have a good time with it, because it's Kevin Smith. You gave me exactly what I wanted. You went back to the universe. You brought Jay back, and he coming off all of his issues that he had, and he was ready to go home. And they were ready to go home together. Kevin Smith almost died, and it's sad. It makes me want to cry. They held hands, and they were like, we're going to go home together, and everyone's going to come with us. And they went home and just decided, fuck it, we're just going to smoke weed and sit around here like a bunch of idiots instead of actually make a movie.
Shout out to Method Man and Red Man in that movie.
Oh, yeah. And I love how high, too. I got that signed by both.
I'm not coming at this movie and saying it sucks.
No, I never said that. That's just lower
when you
on my
compare it to the
favorites.
rest of them, I feel like you built this up for my entire life. And we're finally going to go back. And then you went back and you were like, fuck it, we're here. Well, you're not going to do anything with it.
Well, no, here's the thing. Here's my situation on this whole thing. And this is going down to when it comes to the Clerks 2 as well. Everyone wanted a true sequel. But even when I watch Clerks and Clerks 2, they're very different movies in my eyes when it comes to those two movies. Even though it doesn't feel like a sequel. As far as Strike Back to Reboot, I feel Reboot is way more of a feeling of a sequel to Strike Back than Clerks 2 is to Clerks. That's why I hate when people put it down so much, because that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be that stoner, cloudy movie, just like Strike Back.
So Strike Back has an actual storyline.
Yes.
This movie was like, I'm gonna do the same storyline at Strike Back, except not as good. That's
now,
what the movie was.
My issue is a little different with this. My issue with Reboot was he tried too hard to shoehorn too many cameos.
Yeah,
that would be the only.
And that was my issue with it.
Yeah.
Like the cameos in Strike Back were fun and unexpected. Like Judd Nelson as the sheriff. Like little things like that. They're not major roles, but it's like, here's Melissa Benoist, Supergirl for no reason. Here's Val Kilmer as Blunt. Like, you know what? It's too cameo celebrity heavy for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm gonna go back home with tales of bigotry within the heart of Utah.
Right.
But see, that's the thing, though. The plot, I feel like the plot does get shadowed by that. But at the same time, people tend to forget that for some people outside of the people that really love Kevin Smith, feel the same way about Strikes Back or Dogma because of how that was the same way.
And that's why Dogma was low on my list, too.
Strikes Back is a serviceable comedy on its own, even not knowing the characters.
It's not a bad movie.
If you've never seen Strike Back, you can't watch Reboot because you'll be like, what is happening? There's so many callbacks, you wouldn't even understand it. Strike Back is like, it could stand on its own outside of the universe. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to bash this, but
it's a buddy adventure.
As a person, I understand people's love for it as a nostalgia piece, and that you just hold something dear because you are one of those type of guys that you love things just so much that's why. But I'm not willing to accept okay things from something I love. That's how I feel.
Also, you got to remember too, when Strike Back first came out, it didn't perform well.
No, and I saw it first day.
Yeah, so did I.
I did too. Yeah, of course.
But yeah, you got to also remember now it's become this icon and cult classic. But when it first came out, it was panned by the critics.
Yeah. I remember when I went and saw it. It was actually the first day, and they didn't fill up the theater. Like, and this happened a lot with Kevin Smith's movies. I hate putting it that way. Even Reboot didn't. Reboot, I remember Clerks 2 didn't. And it's just sad to say it, but it's because even though Kevin Smith is very popular, he has such a small following in a lot of ways, if you think about it.
He has a passionate following.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily small, but it's not big enough to the point where it's Marvel. Do you know what I mean?
They're dedicated, though.
Yeah.
Those who are dedicated to Smith are...
Director followings are not usually very big.
No.
Right? Okay, so...
Zack Snyder.
Yeah, it's still not big. It's just loud.
No.
Which, by the way, I got to tell you something, Johnny, that you don't know about. We'll do that.
Okay, so we'll talk about this one then, because this seems to be very different for me. As I said, my list is not based on the ones I like the most. If I went like the most, I would probably have Mallrats would be Mallrats, Clerks, and Jane Silent Bob Strike Back would be my top 3. Dogma is arguably, to me, so my number 1 is Clerks, but I had to differentiate here. I had to use my own personal preference, because I think Dogma is easily, without a doubt, the best movie Kevin Smith has ever made in terms of the script, the dialogue, the character arcs, the story, the using religion as a crux to flip it on its head and like spit in its face, and for the people that were coming at him for the stuff he was doing. It was like all like a metaphor, like the whole movie, and the
Buddy Christ.
Yeah, and it's like it's so smart. It's so like unbelievably smart what he did with that movie, and it looks the best. It has the best actual visual like styling to it. But Clerks is just like a really important movie to me, and there's no way I could not have it at number 1.
Clerks has to be number 1. I agree with that. But Dogma, same thing. Like, I mean, the only thing is I never was a fan of Alanis Morissette. And Dogma was also at the peak of the Ben Affleck, Matt Damon thing.
Yeah.
Right. So it was kind of getting a little old and long in the tooth, even though they played their characters fantastic. And shout out to Alan Rickman in that film.
The acting in that movie is amazing.
Fantastic.
The voice of God.
The voice of God. Alan Rickman was fantastic.
Chris Rock was great.
Chris Rock was good. I forgot the main actress's name.
Oh,
I can't think of her name either.
I literally know who it is. Hold on, I'll open it. It's Linda Fiorentino.
Linda Fiorentino. She was great in that movie. Even Jason Lee. Give Jason Lee credit. In that movie.
Everybody is good. That's what I'm saying. In terms of like a technically made movie, it doesn't get better than Dogma for Kevin Smith. Every single thing is his peak of filmmaking in that movie. Which is why I put it there. It wouldn't be my favorite. If you're going favorites, Dogma's probably like almost last for me. Yeah. Which you guys have it like that. I just chose to do my list in a different way.
My Dogma's not last for me. I've got Chasing Amy.
I know, but it's like close. Okay, so let's talk about that. Chasing Amy is
higher on my list.
Is literally Kevin Smith spilling his heart out on a page. He wrote that that's a literal like his love story written
to his girlfriend at the time.
Exactly.
Ex-girlfriend,
so the dialogue is so good in that movie. The whole movie is carried by dialogue. It's nothing else in that movie.
You get probably the best Kevin Smith Silent Bob speech, the Chasing Amy story.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Literally, that's the best one. Okay. And he's what's the gay guy's name? The comic book writer,
the one that's
Banky.
Actually not Banky. The one that was that's in the beginning where like he's acting all thuggish, and then all of a sudden he's like about to shoot up the place. That was the part I actually liked and what made me love Chasing Amy so much.
Yeah. I forgot his name, but
I can't either.
Yes.
Hooper Lamont,
and then he yells out Brock Prower or something. Right?
That was the beginning of. So that's his third movie. So Clerks, you see the rawness and his talent for filmmaking. Mallrats showed that he could put an ensemble cast together and make a comedy. Chasing Amy is the beginning of when you start to see that his writing is really starting to
write a good story.
It's locked. And then when he got to Dogma, it was like, this is the most perfect movie I've written. Where he, in his mind, I guarantee you, he'll tell you it's Clerks 2.
He will, yeah.
I promise you that. And I've never seen him say that. I'm just telling you, you could tell by the way he wrote. Clerks 2 is like, this is the end. And it was like his opus. This was going to be everything coming together. And we'll get more into these kind of things in the other episode. But like keeping it on lists. So, Putty, what was one thing that you saw about these lists or that you want to talk about?
Well, okay, here's the thing. We went into Clerks 2 and Dogma, and the reason I put those like at 5 and 4, it was Clerks 2 at 5 and Dogma at 4, was because I thoroughly enjoyed those movies. And that's the reason why they still like are in the top 5. But like Clerks 2, the reason I did enjoy it over something like Chasing Amy is because it's definitely what appealed to me more because of the raw, like he went past, especially with not Dante, but with Randall's character. Randall said some stuff that like you would never say, but it was just so
I will
well.
not be ashamed to admit I cried at that point where Randall is giving him that speech in prison. Mm-hmm. I cried at that scene. Literally cried. I felt that emotion that he was feeling at the time.
And see, that's what I'm saying. That's the reason why the only reason why I put the Clerks to below Dogma is because of, Dogma did have a way better setup as far as that and everything. But what I want to get into is this. I know you guys put Clerks in there, and I was thinking about putting Clerks in number 1, but then I was like, that's what everyone says. And the reason I stated that is because I saw Clerks on video for the first time when I first saw any of Kevin Smith's movies. And when I saw it, I think it was like 12, 13. I can't remember exactly what old it was. But I remember I was young to where I remember when I was watching, I don't know why we had it, but I was watching it and I heard the reference to the stormtroopers on the Death Star.
Yeah,
and as
independent contractors.
Exactly. And as a kid, when you hear something in a movie that you don't think you're going to enjoy, referencing something you enjoy, that made me go, huh. So I paid attention to it. What really got me involved with Kevin Smith, really, really involved, even though I did love Clerks, was Mallrats. And that's because Mallrats hit so many points for me in so many ways. And that's because, first off, it dealt with comics. We had Stan Lee in this movie, okay? Yeah. Let alone one of the first scenes we see is we actually see Brody actually playing a Sega Genesis and playing NHL on a Sega Genesis in
NHL 94.
Yes. So my point to the thing is we have Sega Genesis, we have Stan the Man Lee in there, and then not to mention this is the first time that Jay and Silent Bob have got way more of a prominent role in the movie. And you gotta think, look at what Kevin and Jay did so much. You remember Jay? They didn't want to put Jay. They wanted to hire Seth Green as Jay. And I would not think the Kevin Smith world or VSQ world would ever exist.
I'm glad he stood up for that to have Jay in the film. Mallrats, going back to your point, Mallrats was what introduced me to Kevin Smith. And I became a lifelong fan of Jason Lee after that movie because he played that character fantastic. He was so good.
I felt like, because it came around the time when I was a teenager, because I think I was like 15 or 16 at the time. I don't know if it was 95 or 96, but I was like around that age. And it hit me so hard because I was interested in girls. I had the video games, I had the comics. Everything was hitting me that I felt like when I watched this movie at that age, I was like, this was made for me. And that's what made me go, Kevin basically just spoke with me. He put Sega Genesis in there. He put other comic books in there. And then not even just that, at that time, I was one of those kids going to the mall. But I
respected the property that he was putting in there, too. And that's what spoke to me, too.
And he doesn't do that in Reboot.
Okay. Yes, he doesn't respect the property. I agree.
But
I agree with that.
Listen, Mallrats has the greatest line in any Kevin Smith movie.
Which one? Because there's so many too. Tell him Steve Dave.
Yeah, he knew already what it was.
Christ, he's faster than Walt. He's faster than Walt Flanagan's dog.
and then how can we not remember? Oh, would you like a chocolate covered pretzel? I mean, there's so many great lines. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Or what's his name? Couldn't see the picture. He's like,
oh, Ethan Suplee.
He would start being, and then of course, not even mentioned. Even though we had Stan Lee, we literally got to see the first look of Bluntman. If you really think about it, you know what I mean? Yeah. It was the first time we actually got to see like Bluntman, because Chasing Amy came out to Mallrats, so we didn't have the whole Bluntman and Chronic thing until Mallrats. It started when we started getting that, and that's where we first see Kevin Smith's character.
Those seeds. He's starting to expand. I agree.
Mallrats was just, even though Clerks is number one, and that's the reason why I had so trouble with number 3 and 2 with Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and Clerks. And the reason I put Jay and Silent Bob before that is just because it felt like it was what I needed after Mallrats. You know what I mean? And it kind of felt it continued with what made me fall in love with Kevin Smith.
It's closer to Mallrats than it is to any other movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But again, Mallrats, I love Clerks. I will never.
But just the raunchiness of Mallrats was just hilarious.
God,
it was just a raunchy comedy. Took me back to like, I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember Porky's, but that kind of like, But everybody remembers
the Porky's video game. Come on now, I played that on Atari. Yes.
No, but you know what I mean? It had that type, not to the point where it was that bad, but it had that similar raunchiness to it, which, you know, as a 20-year-old kid, I found that hilarious. Priscilla Barnes from Three's Company with a third nipple.
Yeah, that I was just gonna say that too.
And then she just
nobody wants to go to the flea market. What is it called?
That's the most. That's amazing. That's disgusting.
Oh.
The dirt mall.
But then, like the one person that didn't like it was sitting there just all like, you know, and while Brody can't pay attention, you got quit over there just looking like talking for it, and then Brody's all like,
I never. Which London is he? Jason or
London.
It's Jason London, right?
Yeah,
not
Jason
Jeremy.
London, yeah.
Jeremy was in all those Aerosmith videos.
I know what you're talking about.
It was his twin. It's his twin brother, right?
Yeah.
Jail. This is Jeremy.
This is Jeremy, right? Okay, so Jason was the one of the Aerosmith videos. Okay.
But I mean, even if you think about it, like this is another reason I do bring this up as well. Is
dude said he would fuck a pie. No,
right.
You're the guy who would fuck a pie.
See, I told you. Back to the pie.
James Vanderbeek. Shut up, Dawson.
Oh my god. Cock knocker.
See,
but I mean, that's the thing.
The Wes Craven scene and the backlot stuff, and Diedrich Bader as the
what a lovely tea party.
By the way, for those that are watching that might not, we're talking about Jane Silent Bob Strikes Back now. Mallrats is gone. So.
Yeah, but that's like the stuff that made that movie. You made a joke out of the cameos.
Yeah.
Where in Reboot, the cameos are the movie.
Well, see, here's the thing. There was a lot of things that were messed up in Reboot, because you got to remember, the character that Ben Affleck played was actually supposed to be Stan Lee, but then he passed away. So it was a gripping thing. Like, I feel like that might have also maybe put a chink in the situation. Because again, I feel like I agree he was lazy about it, but I still, again, it was the fanfare, and it definitely was. And again, I don't want to downfall it, because I feel like he still did try. It just, I feel like that he's lost his edge only because he's went out and started doing stuff like his podcast trilogy and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
so that's how I feel.
But yeah, no, Mallrats. Going back to what I was saying, Mallrats was the film that introduced me to Kevin Smith, and then I went back to watch Clerks, and like Clerks really that really hit home with me at the time, because I was going through similar things at a dead-end job kind of thing, not knowing where I wanted to go in my life. And that's why Clerks hit me so hard. And that's why I had at that point, Clerks number one.
At that point, my girlfriend did suck 37 dicks. And
but not all of them bring you lasagna.
In a row?
Including me? 37. I'm 37.
I'm 37?
Doesn't she die in the bathroom?
Yes.
Anyways, no. That wasn't the one that died in the bathroom.
No, not the 37 dicks.
That was the other girl that he was all fascinated with. Remember he
wanted to get back together. He wanted to break up with 37
Smith's quote in this was talking about how.
It's the girl that he in the animated series that he's always trying to get a hold of.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, we're ending this episode. If you like, let us know your favorite of the Askewniverse in the comments, and we'll catch you on the next one, because we're gonna do a full Kevin Smith talk. And I don't like you. Thanks for watching.
Snoochie boochies.
Snoochie boochies.